Born in October 1988, the late Ed Gold would get his start and his passion in life by making digital art and animations. These animations would be very crude stick figure cartoons that he would upload onto a website known as Stick Figure Death Theater and Stick Suicide. It was on this website where he would meet a fan of his animations, a kid by the name of Thomas Ridgewell, who even self-claims to have borderline begged Ed to be his friend, the two of which ended up forming an online bond. Ed would be at school and meet Matt Hargreaves, someone who Ed didn't like at first and thought he was, quote, bit of a prick. The two of them ended up becoming best friends during their school life. It was clear that Ed had an obvious talent for these animations, and he would eventually move into Flash, a way more professional and more commonly used animation software. Ed would even go on to create his own comic series that featured him and his real-life friends as the characters, and inspired by the movie Wayne's World, decided to call it Ed's World. Eventually, those real-life friends bled into his animations that he made, with its earliest and biggest one being an animation that featured Ed and Matt known as Ed Again. This new animation would be uploaded to the site Newgrounds, where he would meet a Norwegian artist by the name of Tord Larsen. Ed had his own little community of both online and in-person friends, and his Ed's a World comic that he would make in middle school turned into his animations. He would create the Ed's World Christmas special in 2004. This is widely regarded by some to be the first ever official episode of Ed's World, which would keep on building and find its footing. Ed, Tom, Matt, and Tord would be the main characters of the show, and during the early era pretty much would be just them in cartoon form, sharing their likeness, voices, and even down to their last names for a period of time. Ed kept on improving Ed's World more and more as the years rolled by. However, in March of 2012, Ed Gold would pass away after his 6-year-long battle with cancer. His dying wish was to have his show Ed's World not end just yet, and throughout the next decade plus, Tom and Matt would take their turns in running Ed's World, with the rest being history. I've been a fan of Ed's World for pretty much my entire life. The first episode I ever saw was the first zombie attack that was released in like 2005. I literally grew up with Ed and his world, damn near. But since those early days, a lot has happened. A lot of interesting behind the scenes, fun facts, controversies, whatever the hell this is, there's a lot. So I went and researched all of Ed's World and wrote down every single thing that I thought was even remotely interesting, going from basic common knowledge to the darkest corners of everything, to put it all together into one giant list. So sit back and relax, my cheeky little good boys, as I bring you through the Ed's World Iceberg chart. If you enjoyed this kind of content, join my Patreon to unlock exclusive perks and other malarkey that I can plague your mind with. Generations. Ed's World has gone through 3 major generations or eras that the show is known for, each being ran by the real-life version of the 3 main characters. The classic era would be Ed simply creating his own show up until his passing, where Tom would then take over to create Ed's World Legacy, a much more experimental and collaborative era, featuring many different animators. And beyond, the current and modern era of Ed's World, ran by Matt and his exclusive team of animators, trying to keep true to Ed's original style, Tord. If you were a new fan of Ed's World who knew nothing about the early years of the show, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to believe that you only thought that the show consisted of 3 main characters, but there was a 4th. Tord was a character, and a fan favorite one at that, who would make consistent appearances in the first half of the classic era, but he was more quiet, rarely spoke, and had a weird violent side to him. However, this would all be short-lived, as Tord would be infamous for leaving the show. Tord leaving Ed's World was one of the biggest events in the entire history of the show. The reason why was because the real-life Tord couldn't really handle the pressure of being on the show and being so well known, with essentially his likeness and life no longer being private. He grew to not like the fans and the attention that they gave him. He would request to Ed that his character be removed from the show entirely, and in the episode 25 Feet Under the Seat, Tord's character just leaves the group with no explanation given. He just does. Several years later, in the Ed's World Legacy era, the era of the show famous for turning the characters in the show into true characters that don't share borderline any similarities to their real-life counterparts, Tord was brought back for a major 2-parter where he played the role of the villain, however with a new voice actor. I Like Trains. The I Like Trains kid, whose name is apparently Ryan,
I like trains.
from Tom's show Asdef Movie is voiced by Ed. Not only this, but Ryan's first appearance being in Asdef Movie 2 was actually fully animated by Ed. BBC News. In 2009, Ed and Tom were commissioned to create an animation about climate change that played at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Copenhagen. This landed Ed and Tom on the BBC News for their cartoon. It was also revealed that Obama was at this conference, meaning that Barack Obama has definitely seen Eddsworld in his life. It's true. Hey Ed. Helicard is a retired character from Eddsworld and is a small running gag in the series. In his appearance, he always greets Ed by saying, "Hey Head."
Oh, look, it's Head. Hey Head.
He would make multiple appearances, but was killed off in What the Future by Ed's future self. This wouldn't stop his cameos, however, as he still does cameo as a corpse in Space Phase, a zombie in Fun Dead, a childhood flashback during Power Ed, and even making a gender-bent appearance in Mirror Mirror. Quest for Bacon. Eddsworld actually had a few short flash games that would be released onto Newgrounds. One of the first popular ones was the Quest for Bacon, a game where you play as either Ed or Matt and have to collect as much bacon as you possibly can. The Not So Special Stage. The Not So Special Stage is another small flash game created by Ed and programmer Psychosis91. The game itself is a spoof of the special stages from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but instead of rings, you collect cans of cola. Bang Boom Splat. Bang Boom Splat is the final and most advanced game that Ed and Psychosis91 ever fully released and completed. This one being an actual full-on game. In Bang Boom Splat, you play as a first-person Ed shooting down zombies, demons, and a giant kaiju. The game has its own story mode, an actual fleshed-out gameplay style with multiple stages, and even makes a cameo in the episode Fun Dead. Eddsworld Reanimated. Eddsworld Reanimated is a collaborative YouTube channel where a list of various artists and animators all take their part in animating a few seconds of an episode for one giant finished collab. The only episodes fully finished as of now are What the Future and Spares. Tom's Black Eyes. When Tom created his own character inspired by Ed's drawings, Ed thought Tom had just fully ripped him off. So Tom gave himself a line for his eyes in order to stand out and be different.
And specifically, I'm copying his style in a video called Ed Again, and I sent him this. And he was like, "Hey, thanks, that you've just basically traced my art." He liked pointing out the negatives quite a lot. So then I was like, "Oh, sure, well, I'll draw my own character," which was just me with a blue hoodie, but still no face. And he said, "Hey, you've stolen my art again. Stop just copying me." So I was like, "Oh, well, I'll set me apart." And I just put a line on it. So,
This line eye thing would slowly morph into his regular eyes that are just fully black by Tom's request, claiming there was a rage demon inside him and that's why his eyes are black, which is actually hinted at in Trick or Threat.
Why couldn't she possess your mind?
You can't possess something twice.
But the show itself never actually gives a canon proper explanation why his eyes are black, and even mocks the idea of giving an explanation.
Hey Tom,
Yeah?
I've always wondered, why are your eyes black?
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, it's a funny story, actually. It all started when I was younger, and I'm a parent now.
Tom, you're mumbling. Tom, I can't. What are you doing?
Yanny. After Tord left the show, there was a short-lived attempt at replacing him with a new character named Laurel, who was Tom's real-life roommate. They would go on to have a major role in their first appearance, Movie Makers. However, Ed wanted Laurel to be a pseudo-love interest for the boys. Tom didn't like this idea at all, so they killed her off entirely instead. Eddsworld USA. Eddsworld USA is a very famous Eddsworld animation created by Joe. Yep. Just Joe, to jokingly banter and mock Eddsworld and show what their American versions would look like, being extremely foul-mouthed and going tailgating.
Yo, Tommy, you ready to go tailgating? I just got us 24 broskies.
Never mind that, Eddie. I just met these two chicks at the local library. They say they twins.
Oh, man, are they hot?
They was fucking banging his shit, yo.
Oh, man, that's great. Let's go fuck them.
Exactly what I was thinking, man.
Hey, where's Maddie? I don't know, we're probably getting fucked in the ass or something. Yeah! What a faggot!
Ed would actually make a response video to this where he would mock Joe.
Hello, I'm Joe.
What?
Why?
On a much more sad note though, this Joe animation created by Ed would be his final finished animation uploaded to his YouTube channel before his passing, and the final time we would hear his voice before his death. Tord's explanation video. When Ed passed away, Tord would actually come out of hiding for the first time since his departure to discuss why he left EDDSWORLD in the first place, and to also make a toast to commemorate Ed. He would eventually take this video down, most likely because people who needed to see it did. So Tord removed it so that he can go back to making a name for himself that wasn't EDDSWORLD related. For a while, this was actually lost media for a bit of time, but nowadays you could see re-uploads of it on YouTube fairly easily. Crash Zoom. Crash Zoom is a show created by Tom and his team during the EDDSWORLD Legacy era. Crash Zoom included several references to EDDSWORLD and vice versa. Lucy and Ben appear in Power Ed. The character Kate plays a major role in EDDSWORLD's Trick or Threat, as well as a line art cameo in the End Part 2. Crash Zoom also has references to EDDSWORLD, being this statue of Power Ed, a poster for Space Cats and Asdiflan. Tom and his demon form both make a cameo appearance, as well as one shot that just straight up shows Ed and Tom. Rock Bottom. Rock Bottom is a cartoon uploaded to Tom's channel that features Ed and Tom as the main characters. The video is about the pair's house sinking to the bottom of the ocean, and while Tom is freaking out and trying to save them from the water, Ed just stands there making puns. This isn't an actual EDDSWORLD episode, obviously just by looking at it, and is just a fun side project animated by Zach Hadel, the creator of Smiling Friends. Shout out to the Patreons, by the way, for making this shit possible. Bendy. Before EDDSWORLD itself was an animation, back when Ed made stick figure animations on Stick Figure Death Theater, he created the character Bendy, a stick figure version of Ed after he falls into radioactive waste. Bendy would actually have a lot of episodes that predate EDDSWORLD, and would even make an official appearance in the EDDSWORLD 2004 Christmas special, as well as making multiple cameos to this day. Tom's EDDSWORLD contract. In 2004, Ed would hire Tom to join the official EDDSWORLD team as an animator and email answerer, and by doing this, Ed would construct a contract for Tom to sign that he created in Microsoft Paint. That reads, "I, Tom, hereby agree that I shall be a member of the EDDSWORLD Elite Force. I accept my responsibilities as animator, drawer, and email answerer. If I ever quit, I shall stick a gun to my head and kill myself. Or I will just stop animating, full stop." You kind of forget sometimes that EDDSWORLD was created by 12 and 13-year-olds, so seeing like shit like this is just wholesome. The Light Bulb and Space Face. Space Face would be the last EDDSWORLD episode that Ed himself worked on while he was alive, as he would unfortunately pass away during its production. This is why towards the end of the episode, the animation style abruptly changes. But the signifying part of this is a small light bulb that goes out above Ed's head. This light bulb is to symbolize the exact moment that Ed passed away. My friend died. After the passing of Ed, Tom would create a video on his channel titled My Friend Died, where he essentially used it as a pseudo video diary to reflect and give his thoughts on everything. This video would end up going unlisted and unwatchable, as Tom would then unlist every single video on his channel that heavily featured Ed. To this day, the infamous My Friend Died video is still unwatchable.
Speaking of wanting the space to be able to move on, this next bit isn't fun, but I'm gonna talk about it because that's what this video is really about. And that is that my friend died. Back in 2012, my friend and creative partner Ed died. And I have a lot of videos across my channels documenting our friendship and discussing his death, and over the years I've been unlisting some of them. Firstly, it was the ones that had his name in the title, then it was the ones that directly discussed his death, and honestly, as time goes on, maybe I will unlist more, if not all of them. And this is all because while I hold those videos so dear, the comments I get on them just fucking suck. And not just the comments I get on them, but the comments that I get on all of my videos because of the continued association between us just really fucking suck. You don't know this, but I have a word filter on my comments that filters his name, words pertaining to our relationship, and the name of his show, because again,
those comments really suck.
The EDDSWORLD fan movie. To celebrate the 10th anniversary of EDDSWORLD, fans came together to create the EDDSWORLD movie, directed by the infamous Mark Lavallo, which we will get back to soon, don't worry. It would later be renamed to the EDDSWORLD fan movie and go through many delays and rewrites, with the director and scripts changing multiple times. The movie is about Commander Bai from Spaceface waging war on Earth and the US military kicking off the entire conflict. That features Ed, Matt, and Tom caught in the crossfire. The movie was cancelled at the request of Matt due to EDDSWORLD coming back for the Beyond era, with only a few scenes actually finished and shown to the public. Later, the full animatic of the movie's earliest version with the voice acting and all was leaked, which was god-awful. The movie was hilariously dogshit in pretty much every way. Every 3 seconds, there would be a callback to an early joke in an episode. The writing was just terrible. It wasn't even slightly funny or well-paced. It was boring beyond belief and just massively upsetting, pretty much entirely due to its controversial creator Mark Lavallo. When the movie was canceled and the EDDSWORLD Legacy Generation by Tom came to a close, Matt actually took a lot of the animators from the EDDSWORLD fan movie and now works with them to create official episodes of the show.
What's wrong, little man? Scared we're gonna embarrass you in front of your new girlfriend?
Ah, how clever of you to crack a joke like that. Must think you're pretty funny, huh? Well, I'm not laughing. So why don't you just go ahead and keep your furry little mouth shut, or else I'm going to have to stitch it up myself. And you wouldn't want that, would you, pretty boy? Boo.
General McCoy cameo. Before the movie itself was cancelled, one of the antagonists of the film, General McCoy, actually makes a small cameo during the episode The End Part 2. See? Right there. That's him. That's the boy. Red Leader. This is one of the biggest and most mysterious ongoing plot lines in EDDSWORLD. Tom used to have a show in development known as Super Average, which tells the story of two superheroes who cause more harm than good. The villain of this show is Red Leader, who is said to be Tord. After the release of The End, the whole Tord/Red Leader character was dropped from Super Average and remains in a weird legal state as of now. After the character Tord leaves the show, he comes back as a villain. In a very recent brand new episode, Tord's New Adventure, it shows what Tord did during his time away, joining a laboratory and becoming a scientist and inventor of genetics and robotics, which is how he later becomes Red Leader. But since Tom is no longer involved in the whole Red Leader thing, the Red Leader has simply been renamed to The Leader, with the Red Leader logo making several appearances, having a slight design change, and even in this brand new episode. Tord becoming a villain is a known plotline in episodes, and in Tord's most recent appearance timeline-wise, his arm gets badly injured and he finds a red robotic arm, the same arm used by Red Leader, Tommy Bear. Tommy Bear is a running background gag throughout EDDSWORLD. Its design is based on the character Tommy Stick from Ed's early bendy animations. First appearing in Ruined, Tommy Bear makes an appearance in almost every single episode of the show, even up until this day. Creed's Salunatics. Creed was the animator responsible for the animation in the episode Power Ed. However, he was originally going to also animate the episode Salunatics. He wasn't able to find the time to truly work on it and finish it due to Creed having many other commitments that he had to attend to, and so the job was moved over to Studio Cacti. All that remains of Creed's animations for the episode is what you are seeing now, being the first scene of the episode. A small headcanon is that if Creed did animate Salunatics, it would have been much more well received, since one of the biggest critiques from fans of Salunatics is the very different and strange animation style. Super Average. We talked a little bit about Super Average a bit earlier, but Super Average was a show that was thought up by Ed and Tom. Production officially began on Super Average in 2009, but was put onto an indefinite hiatus when Ed passed away. Many pieces of concept art done by Ed can still be seen and viewed. Son Ronson. This is a pretty simple one. The character Son Ronson from Hammer and Fail is pretty much a direct copy of the character Ron Swanson from the show Parks and Recreation. Tommy Bear YouTuber. The YouTuber by the name of Tommy Bear is said to be one of, if not the biggest and best EDDSWORLD dedicated fan channels on YouTube, uploading including video essays, theories, reviews, and just the works. If you're a big fan of EDDSWORLD content, then Tommy Bear's channel pretty much is required subscribing. Hellbender's cameo. In the Hellbender's episode, A Hellbender Christmas, Tom and Ed make brief cameos in the episode when Jesus tries to kidnap Zach. Yeah, really.
Boys, you saved Christmas. Also, I'm Jesus.
Thanks, Jesus.
It's time to go to heaven, my child.
Stop it, what are you doing?
Stop it,
Stop it, cut it out, help.
Stop. Come on, Zach. Let's go to heaven. Wait, what are you doing? Stop.
Hey! Let that kid go!
Black Jacket Tord. Everyone knows Tord for his red hoodie, but in his first few appearances, it was actually just simply a black Dracula-style cloak, of which Tord drew himself in a lot. But Ed would change this to be a red hoodie instead to make him fit in more with the other characters. The EDDSWORLD DVD. In 2009, Ed and Tom partnered together to release an official physical release of an EDDSWORLD DVD. The DVD was set to include 3 episodes, Santa Claus 2, Spares, and Matt Sucks, along with 6 additional shorts. It's not known by many how much of these DVDs were actually produced, let alone sold, but as of today, only 3 of the DVDs are actually confirmed to exist. The Beginning and the Friend. The Beginning and the Friend is a long fan story about Tord and his reign as the Red Leader. The story is much more darker than EDDSWORLD typically is and shows what a dystopian hell the future has become under the rule of the Red Leader. It's kind of it, really. Just a nice little story. The End musical. The final episode of EDDSWORLD Legacy, The End, was famously originally going to be a musical. The whole idea was scrapped, however, due to Ed's voice actor Tim moving to the US. So the team could not find time to incorporate songs into the final episode before he moved, and thus the idea was fully scrapped. Tongue-tied. YouTuber Skizzy hosted a multi-animator project where various animators would all give an EDDSWORLD animation played to the song Tongue-tied. The reason for its inclusion on this iceberg is simply just due to how big of a deal and how incredible the project is and how it just a genuine celebration of EDDSWORLD and is pretty much a required watch. Tom farts in 25 feet. Tom farts in 25 feet. See? He go bump and a bubble fly. He go fart. Eddie Bully original replacement. When Ed passed away, his character would obviously need to have a new voice actor. Many people were considered for the role, but the one who made it the farthest while still not getting the actual role itself was actually Eddie Bully, who would then go on to co-write, produce, and direct the show during the Legacy era. He was replaced by the main man Tim, starting with Space Phase 2 and so on. The original 2000 EDDSWORLD logo. This is just a wholesome one. The first ever logo of EDDSWORLD that exists today is this picture drawn up by Ed in what is believed to be the year 2000. The logo itself features Ed standing in front of a globe. The best of both worlds. Alright lads, you ready? Hold on to your asses because this one is big. The creators of the EDDSWORLD fan movie created a singular fan-made episode titled The Best of Both Worlds, which acted as a pseudo-sequel to the official episode Mirror Mirror. This now taken down cartoon was infamous for how many weird and just uncomfortable things they decided to add. Mark Lavallo, the director and writer of the episode, made a lot of strange choices, the biggest one being the simple fact that the episode is a borderline shameless shipping fanfic. Ed and his female counterpart Elle form a romantic type relationship in the episode, pretty much just being self-cessed. But what makes it so fucking bizarre and weird is that Elle's voice is done by the official Elle voice, being Ed's real-life sister Vicky Gold. Vicky voices the character who falls in love with her brother. That'd be like if Nika dated Chucky.
I had such a good time at the convenience store with you, Ed.
As well as the ending of the episode showing Matt tickling Matilda's feet, which Mark Lavallo really likes. We'll get into more of that later. The Best of Both Worlds is an uncomfortable, fetish-filled fanfic that is just hard carried by its actually really good animation and voice talent. The fundraiser controversy. When EDDSWORLD Legacy was first getting its footing, Tom would make a fundraiser to help support the show following the death of Ed. But this had a lot of issues that Tom has stated in interviews that he himself even handled poorly. First off, when the fundraiser began, Tom faced a lot of backlash from those, claiming claiming that he was profiting off of Ed's death. This led to Tom stating that the donations given by the fundraiser would go directly to the show, and any actual money made from the show, like views, ads, etc., would all go to charity, which it did. Another issue Tom faced was actually by just giving those who donated their rewards and perks that they were promised by donating. The entire fundraiser was admittedly just a big disaster, and Tom himself even claims that he would have handled it way different and way better. N0R5K1. This is another clue that directs towards Tord and the Red Leader. Tord's license plate reads N0R5K1. This same string of numbers can be seen in the Snoger on a plane that is believed to belong to Red Leader, due to the Red Leader logo appearing, as well as the abundance of red in the plane itself. It was also speculated that this third silhouette that jumps out of the plane actually belonged to Tord himself, which was confirmed in Fundead when we actually see that same silhouette more closely resemble Tord. Tord made Tom the monster. In Tord's laboratory, in the end, we see in the background that Tord has a blueprint of the exact monster that Tom turns into in Powerhead, cluing to some of the things that he helped create while he was gone, as just the simple fact that he was the one responsible for turning Tom into the giant monster in general. Almiratron. Almiratron, also known as the Mitchell and Webb animation, was a project that the BBC commissioned Ed to create for BBC Comedy. It stars David Mitchell and Robert Webb voicing two characters in the short. The plot is that a customer is complaining to a customer service representative about his purchase, a car that has the ability to transform into a giant robot. Almiratron can be found easily on YouTube. Remember. Remember is a maybe pseudo well-known college project created by Ed, as Remember was his submission for his second year final at UCA in college. It's not a comedy and actually tells a really beautiful story of Ed wanting to find love. In the story, he and his female friend run into Ed's childhood crush, who wanted nothing to do with him. As this happens, a literal trip down memory lane ensues, going over each moment relating to this girl and Ed wanting a relationship. Once he finishes, he realizes that the girl he should be with has simply been with him the whole time. It's genuinely a beautiful story that conveys it in a much better way than I ever could. Tom's dad. Tom's dad is a running joke in the series where he is portrayed as being a watermelon. However, in other appearances, Tom's dad is a pineapple. These are the topics we need to be fucking discussing with the Eye of an Eagle. Best served Ice Cold / Kid Thulu. Newgrounds held an event known as the Power of Three, where one programmer, artist, and musical composer would all come together and create a Newgrounds flash game. Ed would join a team as the artist in a team known as Best Served Ice Cold. The reason this was the team name was due to each of their names spelling out the word ice. And they would come together to create a game known as Kid Thulu. The game would be a Mega Man style platformer where you would play as the character Cthulhu as a child. The game itself would never be released due to Ed wanting to focus more time on Eddsworld and Ian, the programmer of the project, being too busy with college. The game was never finished, and all that exists are a few screenshots and concept art. Eddsworld vs. Kaj. Eddsworld vs. Kaj is a famous cartoon posted to Newgrounds by Kaj himself. The animation features Kaj and his friends fighting the Eddsworld group. It's simply just a cool fight animation with music playing in the background, but it became very popular and to this day is a borderline classic. Bendy Stick meets Spider-Man. This 2002 animation that you are seeing now is said to be the oldest surviving animation ever created by Ed that isn't lost to time, where his character meets and interacts with Spider-Man. Deadsworld. Deadsworld was the original name of the episode Fundead. I shouldn't have to explain to you why this was changed. Matt Chinslide. In this planning sheet of the episode Power Ed, a drawing of a children's park slide of Matt's chin can be seen. This needed to be included in the iceberg. Ed and Tord lost in translation. This small animation features Ed and Tord struggling, in quotes, to the language barrier between them. The short is about Tord speaking Norwegian and Ed pretending to not know what he's saying. However, he is caught in a lie and fully understands it. The short was also voiced entirely by Tord, and the reason for its inclusion in this iceberg was that for a while this was a lost animation that was removed and only resurfaced years later.
Hei Ed, hva faen du gjør her I Norge?
Hey, what the fuck are you saying? I don't understand.
Kan du snakke norsk?
Hey, please speak English. I don't understand what you're saying.
Ja, men nå er du i Norge da, ikke sant? Så da kan jo du like gjerne snakke norsk til meg, siden vi er i mitt land med mine privilegier, så da kan du like gjerne... Oh, please, I don't want to speak Norwegian, cause I suck at that. Please. Alright. Speak Norwegian, now. Jeg heter Ed, and I like football. Yay, footy.
The official EDDSWORLD movie. During the EDDSWORLD Legacy fundraiser, one of the donation milestones set was to create an official EDDSWORLD movie. The milestone was never hit, and thus it was scrapped entirely. Nobody knows what this movie would have been about or like, besides the obvious being that Tom's crew Turbo Punch would be the ones creating it during the Legacy era. Toaster Brains 2. Toaster Brains 2 is the second book published by EDDSWORLD, and contains 69, of course, of Ed's comics that he drew, as well as other never-before-seen artworks created by Ed. The book was just an art showcase, essentially. The book was one of the rewards on the EDDSWORLD Legacy fundraiser, and was also sold at a few conventions. However, the book was only on sale for less than a year, and was no longer available to purchase almost immediately after its release, being a major collectible item. Ed's live streams. Ed would actually occasionally host his own live streams, where he would talk to the camera, answer questions, draw, and just overall chill with fans. A lot of these live streams have been found and re-uploaded, however, a majority of them are simply lost to time. Tom Tord in And Then We Dance. Tom Tord is the shipping name fans gave when drawing Tom and Tord in a relationship. What makes this fucking crazy was that the 2019 movie And Then We Danced has a shot in the movie where a drawing on the wall can be seen of Tom Tord's ship art. Chris Bingham, one of the major players in the behind the scenes of EDDSWORLD, would actually make a tweet talking about it, discussing how it is the first ever feature film to contain EDDSWORLD ship art. Spooky Month. In the 5th installment of Senior Pello's Spooky Month series, Ed, Tom, and Matt all make a brief cameo in the background. Pretty neat. Tori. In the episode Mirror Mirror, we see the mirror universe where everyone is gender bent. Ed becomes Elle, Matt becomes Matilda, and Tom becomes Tamara. But we never get to see an official appearance on what the female Tord looks like. Or do we? In a very faint blink and you'll miss it moment, a picture frame of Matilda and the female Tord can briefly be seen. The female Tord is known as Tori, and the only on-screen official appearances that she makes are in this picture frame and as a zombie in Fun Dead. The artist and animator behind Mirror Mirror, Sandra Rivas, would create many artworks showcasing what Tori looks like in full detail. Technically making it canon, because she was the one who did everything in the first place with the actual Mirror Mirror. Slord. Eduardo x Laurel. The characters Eduardo and Laurel never make any on-screen appearances together in the show. However, as revealed by an official comic, the two of them did date and are now exes. Scrambled Ed. Scrambled Ed was a newsfeed blog website that Ed ran during the 2000s. It was here where he would occasionally post updates and various other EDDSWORLD related content and information. Also just things relating to him. Tom's grief art. Tom revealed in a video showcasing all of his artworks that he made from his childhood to young adult years, of which included two pretty intense artworks about Ed and his passing. This artwork was shown of what Ed looked like in the casket, with the caption, "I don't want this memory," followed immediately up by Tom himself sitting at the bottom of an empty bottle. Ed's funeral vlog. Christopher Bingham, one of Ed's closest friends in real life, would also help out with the behind the scenes and even voice the evil director. He would actually vlog and document the funeral of Ed as part of his video diary series Past Bing Future Bing, showing his thoughts on the day and even giving a pseudo inside look to Ed's funeral.
This is the dog. Then we went in for the most ridiculous funeral service of all time. Ed carried in to the Doctor Who theme tune, carried out to the Red Dwarf theme tune. Victoria played a song from Rocky Horror on her guitar, and there were video tributes. So many times throughout the service I found myself smiling or laughing, but also on the verge of tears. Laughing at how silly we all looked and how only someone like Ed could have orchestrated something so silly. I cried for the first time in a long while, and I hugged more than I've hugged in a whole year. And for the rest of the day, those wires seemed to be crossed for all of us. Laughing, crying, happy, sad, everything was for Ed, and everything felt strange and intense.
bad YouTube quality. Early classic episodes of Eddsworld like Spares and Ruined, for example, all share a very strange detail about them, and that is how low quality the videos are. An example of this is the episode Ruined, where if you watch it on YouTube, it's very pixelated and blurry, but on Newgrounds, it's clear as day. Same with Spares, where it comes off as extremely laggy on YouTube, but looks amazing on Newgrounds. Kalashnikova. Kalashnikova is the name of Tord's old Newgrounds account that he had and ran until seemingly abandoning it. The account still stands today and has 2 cartoons actually posted by Tord. What the Future 2. For a long time, What the Future was the biggest episode of Eddsworld in terms of views alone, but was later revealed that Ed had actually made some scribbles and super rough drafts of an opening scene for What the Future 2. However, what happens or its contents were never made public. All that exists today of What the Future 2 is a single blurry screenshot of Tom's parents that were going to make an appearance. Mark Lavallo. Mark Lavallo is not an obscure talking point in Eddsworld history, but he's at the bottom layer because just him. Mark Lavallo was the director of the infamous Eddsworld fan movie. It was also his draft of the animatic that leaked online, showing everyone how dogshit his idea of the Eddsworld movie was. However, Mark would be involved in a large controversy, where it was revealed that he had sent sexual messages to minors, pretty much all of which relating to feet, which, if you remember the Best of Both Worlds containing an entire foot-tickling scene, you can thank Mark for that. He was pretty much shunned and cancelled by the Eddsworld fandom because duh, but he would later make a now taken down apology video where he borderline defended himself, saying that it could have been worse and that only images of feet were shared. Just a weird dude. Bendy episodes 1 through 3. Before Eddsworld, Ed made a show called Bendy Stick, which we've talked about a few times by now. However, the first 3 episodes of Bendy are all lost media. Going to Newgrounds to see Ed's earliest posts, the first one available is Bendy 4. The most plausible reason for this was that the original website where Ed would post these old Bendy animations, such as Stick Figure Death Theater, would go defunct, taking the Bendy shorts with it. Ed's Killathon. Ed actually held his own group guild in the online game Neopets known as Ed's Killathon. But since Neopets was a targeted to children game, he would be forced to change this name of the guild. It's unknown whether this was just a cool name to sound cool or if there was like a dark intention behind it being a Killathon. Most likely the former. Kind of reminds me of the Webkins Killer, if anybody remembers that. You like smears, don't you? This is an extremely obscure piece of Eddsworld trivia that nobody really seems to mention that much. But in the end part 1, as Ed comes into frame, you could see a hidden message, "You like smear frames, don't you?" hidden in Ed's eye for a single frame. The lost versions of the fan movie. The only draft of the fan movie that has ever been revealed was Mark Lavallo's infamous version. However, the other versions created by Pip and Jackie are still lost and maybe never to be made public. We could only assume that they were at least slightly better than the one Mark had accidentally leaked. Edimation Hacked. Edimation is a side personal YouTube account that Ed had to feature all of his personal projects and college works. Following his death, the channel account would be hacked and renamed to Official Scott H, where the video's titles, descriptions, and tags would all be tampered with and replaced with the phrase, "Thank you video, an inspiring story of a YouTube commenter, Falcon Lovers channel video clan snipers, the real Falcon Lovers." What? The channel access would successfully be retaken back, presumably by someone at Eddsworld, and the titles and channel name would all be changed back to normal. However, the vandalism in all of the video descriptions still remain to this day. London Underground. London Underground is a musical collaborative animation by Ed and Tom about hating public travel in London. However, as the animation was being created, the 7/7 London bombings occurred. The duo then thought that the video would be insensitive, and so it was abandoned halfway through. All of the finished animation can be found on YouTube. The Lost Podcast. Ed, Tom, and Matt created a short-lived podcast with each other in 2009 about Eddsworld. The podcast barely lasted at all, and almost all footage of audio from these podcasts are lost. One of the only surviving clips is a very crusty audio taken of them explaining where Tord went. Take a look.
I'll start off with the first question. This one is from John Sproul, and it is our favourite question of all time. It is, what happened to Tord? Where is Tord? Is Tord coming back? And other variations involving the word Tord.
You're considering whether to answer this.
Well, to keep a long answer short, the person who does the voice of Tord, which is Tord,
yes,
quit.
His character dead.
That's it. He quit. He didn't want to do the voice anymore. It was his choice, and he could go.
He's like Hoochie the dog. He's never coming back.
Hoochie is gone. He's like Chef, Hoochie, and Tord. They're all in the same family.
Yeah, well, seeing as Isaac Hayes is dead now, Chef is never coming back.
Animate. Animate is a barrel. Just that, it's a barrel. Animate is a barrel of toxic chemicals in surf and turf wars. That, when it makes contact with Matt, turns him into a giant lobster monster. The theory proposed by the YouTuber Tommy Bear states that Animate, also just a play on words of animate, is the same chemical that turns the Easter Bunny into a giant monster in the episode Beaster Bunny, Todd. Similar to how the characters have their own female alternates, they also have the kinda Wario variants with the neighbors, being Eduardo, John, and Mark. But unlike the female Tord variant Tori, the neighbor variant of Tord has even less info about him. All we know is that the character's name is Todd, and his only appearance ever is this little sliver of his sleeve as he appears entirely off screen. Matt sucks final line. This is a simple one that is just massively uncomfortable. In the Halloween episode Matt Sucks, Matt turns into a vampire. But before he could suck the blood of Ed or Tom, they accidentally kill themselves before he even gets the chance. The episode ends with a line that has aged like fucking cheese.
Oh well, at least it's a nice day outside. I think I'll go for a walk. Oh well, at least Ed's dead.
Slice Sandwiches. Slice Sandwiches is a YouTube channel believed to have been owned by Ed, and its content consists of YouTube poop-style edits of Eddsworld episodes and videos taken by Ed's friends in real life. Very special kids. This entry refers to a joke line in the episode Beaster Bunny where Tom tells Ed that the Easter egg hunt is intended for kids. Very special kids. This led to a small controversy claiming that Matt was ableist for including a joke at the expense of special needs people. Fat Ass People. This animation created by Ed would spark a bit of a controversy when it released in 2007, a video titled Fat Ass People. This video would spark some anger for Ed mocking a specific group of people, and later a Newgrounds user by the name of Bell Drama would create an edit of Ed's animation known as Fat Ass Ed, where he took images of Ed on Facebook and edited it onto the fat people in Ed's animation. Tom would reach out to Bell Drama and request that he take down his version of the video as well as Ed to do the same. Between 2007 and 2024, Ed's version of this animation was completely lost media, but can be found and viewed today. Paul Trick. This is another entry in the final layer, not due to really its obscurity, but just by how fucked up it is. The real life people, Paul and Patrick, have their own insert characters in Eddsworld. Paul especially making multiple cameos, as well as the two of them being the ones we see working with Red Leader. Toxic Eddsworld shippers would go a bit too far with this one pairing in particular by going above and beyond to harass the two of them about being in a relationship in real life, and even tweeting Matt to ask him if the shipping of them was canon. It got so bad to the point where Paul himself would supposedly make a tweet asking those to stop harassing him and Paul. This would be one of the reasons for Paul and Patrick distancing themselves from Eddsworld due to the over-the-top shippers, among many other unrelated reasons. Sinsworld. Sinsworld is the name given to the not safe for work and Rule 34 side of Eddsworld because, you know, that's a good thing. Celebrity voice box interview. This is a piece of Eddsworld history that I don't think I've seen a single person discuss. Well, the YouTuber Charlie Chittenden has a series on YouTube where he tries to contact the spirit of dead celebrities, Ed Gold being one of them. In this video, he asks Ed what the afterlife is like, and a voice that kinda admittedly sounds like Ed repeats the following.
Can you describe the afterlife, please, Ed?
The video is either one of two things. It's either dude actually speaking to Ed's fucking ghost, or it is highly disrespectful. You decide. Alright, my boys, and that is going to do it for this cheeky little EDDSWORLD Iceberg, you know. I hope you all have enjoyed it. This took me a little bit to make, but I just have such a love and a passion, and I love EDDSWORLD. I really, really do. Like I said, I borderline grew up with the damn thing. It's personal to me, you know. If there's any topics that I missed or just anything that I got wrong, I would love to see it because I want to make sure this video is as authentic as it possibly can be. But regardless, I have a brand new Iceberg video coming out in a couple weeks, as well as a playlist on my channel of all of the other Iceberg videos that I've created. But with that being said, I'm gonna end it off right there. So if you enjoyed this kind of content, then the buttons are down there. You know what to do, and have a good one. So go bye. See ya!
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants, and the cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool.